The Fantasy Football Week 8 Waiver Wire edition of Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up today with promo code OFFSGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old-fashioned football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake-eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old-fashioned football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you listen to, this is J Mark. You can find me in the X at J Mark Football. And if you're wondering who us is, that's at Old Fashioned FB. Make sure you get on over to YouTube so you can see our smiling faces. Before I keep going to talk about Week 8, recap Week 7 a little bit, I got to bring in my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on the X at the Mark. How you doing today?
Doing great, except that I panicked a couple hours ago thinking it was Thursday night and I had to set my lineups. That's how my Monday has gone.
That's been your Monday.
We skipped Tuesday and Wednesday right to Thursday
Oh,
night, panicking that my lineups were.
So it was a long Monday.
It was a long Monday.
Shout out to the chat, Josiah in there saying, woo, how's it going?
Hey, Josiah.
Welcome to the party. We had a good weekend. Got to try some new whiskeys.
Mm-hmm.
Some were very good. We got to try a special thing from Barrel. If you've heard of Barrel whiskey and Barrel bourbon.
We haven't done a review of them on our show.
We have not. And it was aged or finished in ice wine casks. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty interesting. But hey, it's week 8. No bye weeks. I don't know why the NFL did this. Like, you have bye weeks. And then in the middle of your bye weeks, you have week 8 and week 13 with no bye weeks. But you have teams in week 14, which in some leagues, that's when fantasy football playoffs start. Mm-hmm. If not, it's the week right before. So you're pushing to get in the playoffs and they have bye weeks. Why not put it on week 8?
This is proof that the NFL does not give a shit about anyone's fantasy football teams.
It's probably accurate.
You have all these more teams in your bye weeks and you're impacted heavier by having those 2 weeks.
I don't get it. And the NFL should care about my fantasy football team. I think it does bring in more viewers to more games because of fantasy football. Wouldn't you say? I mean, a lot of people, they care to watch their favorite team, but because of fantasy football, now it's like, oh, I want to catch that game to see if my player does well. They should care. Just saying.
I gotcha. Well, anyway, it is not Thursday night. No. It is Monday, which means we have the injury report. We've got studs and duds for you. Sir throws a lot. Underdog Monday night football picks. We've got waiver wire pickups. Monday night football best bets. And of course, we're doing a whiskey review.
Yeah. Speaking of, so I got to ask it. You can't just lead right into it. What are we drinking today? It's one of my taglines.
I know it's your tagline. We are drinking a Widow Jane product called Baby Jane. So stay tuned. More on that later. We'll do a whiskey review.
It is unopened, and I'm very excited to try it. Before we get going, just want to let you know that the NBA season tips off on October 22nd. NBA Gambling Podcast is hosting a win totals contest. Winner gets a $250 SGPN gift card. You have one more day to sign up, so make sure you head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA contest to enter today before the season starts. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA contest. Just make guesses. I mean, the worst that could happen is you lose. It's free, though. And of course, thank you for tuning into Old Fashioned Football. If you can go to Spotify or Apple or both, even better, or both, give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us out a lot. And we're running our contest until the end of October. All 5-star reviews on Apple are getting thrown into a hat, and the winner gets an Old Fashioned Football t-shirt.
Absolutely.
All right. Good evening to catch up with the chat real quick here. Good evening to Wesley Woodcock. My mom's saying it was a really fun weekend. We spent the weekend with them trying a bunch of different whiskeys. And yeah, it was a good time, even though we did go to a speakeasy. And I have to rant about this real quick.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
We went to a speakeasy
In Omaha. Mm-hmm.
Which coming away from it now, it was more of a gimmicky thing. But I don't even care about that. Not every drink you have is going to be a good one. Sometimes you're not going to like the drink, but other people do like it and all that. What drove me nuts is you're paying like $12. Was it $12? $13.50 a drink,
which is like kind of on par for speakeasy type drinks. If you've ever been to a speakeasy, here's what they should be doing: making a craft cocktail, making it singular for you. And there's a lot of ingredients that go into it. A lot of speakeasies they make their own bitters, they make their own syrups. You get like edible flowers in your drink. Like, it's just all crazy. And so it is not just a go to the bar and order an old fashioned type of thing. So you do spend a little bit more. I've noticed speakeasy drinks, whatever.
But this guy, so I ordered my drink and somebody on this side of the bar to a different bartender ordered the same drink. And this bartender turned to the one that I had ordered from and said, "Do you want to make both of those?" And he made them together in the same shaker.
And you got the runoff, like what was left.
It tasted like it. It completely compromises your drink, like the accuracy and everything. It just compromises.
Well, not to mention everything. They said all their drinks were pre-made anyway too. And that's just not.
Like if I'm paying $7 at the bar for a gin and tonic and they make another gin and tonic or something with it, okay. But when I'm paying $13.50 for a specialty drink for this speakeasy, don't make it with somebody else's. Take the time to make them both. I should have left him a 0 tip, but I just can't do that. I can't do it. Should we talk about injuries?
Well, let's get into this before
I injure somebody.
Yeah, I get too far down a rabbit hole here. Yeah, we've got some injuries to update you on. Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles. He is out for the season and maybe has played his last snap for the Browns.
Oh, too sad for him.
Aiden O'Connell, who had just taken the job from Gardner Minshew, broke his thumb and will miss 4 to 6 weeks. Apparently wasn't it?
Justin Herbert is what you're thinking of.
Yeah,
we talked about this
broke
earlier
his
today.
thumb and
still played.
Yes, apparently Aiden O'Connell.
Aiden is a pussy, and you can tell from his mustache.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Minshew's back as a starter now, and we just heard before we started tonight that the Raiders are signing Desmond Ridder.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels questionable with a rib injury. He did injure this before exiting the game. I was watching, and he was like kind of holding it, so he played through it for a while. But they were beating the Panthers so bad, they were like, let's just sit him. X-ray showed no broken ribs. He's considered week to week. I'm worried he's not going to play against the Bears, and I wanted him to play because I wanted a good matchup between Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, the 1 and 2 quarterbacks that went off the board. But it is what it is. Speaking of injuries, Tua expected to be back next week. Tyreek Hill managers like myself rejoice.
So if you hung on to him, didn't trade him away,
yes,
this is some good news for you.
Hopefully.
Brandon Ayuk tore knee ligaments.
Not good news.
His ACL, MCL, that test did confirm that.
Yes.
So this is a season-ending injury here. So
yeah. I also heard
not good for him.
Yeah, I also heard right before we went, I saw it on Twitter, Deebo Samuel in the hospital because he has fluid in his lungs from pneumonia. He exited that game due to an illness.
Illness.
Yes.
I will circle. We'll get through our injury report, and I have to circle back. You said illness, and it just...
I knew.
Okay.
I knew as soon as they said it, that was going to remind you of something.
DK Metcalf left the game with a knee injury as well. It's a grade 1 MCL sprain. He's considered week to week. Of the ligaments in the knee, this is the fastest healing due to good blood supply. So it's possible he only misses a week. Just keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's a good Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Good tidbit from the doctor the DGen doc. Make sure you check out the DGen doc show. Were you going to say something?
No.
That was it. All right. Chiefs wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster already ruled out next week because of his hamstring. And even though we thought this was happening last week, I was on the road. Somebody didn't tell me. But Cooper Kupp will officially make his return on Thursday this week.
I know.
I thought it was last week. Everybody said he was going to be in.
What you told me Sunday morning was while you're driving, you told me as you're looking through your lineups, if you notice anybody is out, just let me know.
Or if
what
you
I
get
should have done
notifications.
is I should have looked at the leagues we were in together, because we happen to be in a league together where this where Cup was out.
Yes, we do.
So you started Cooper Cup. You started Cooper Cup in our listener league, didn't you?
I ended up being able to switch him out, but it was like taking the worst of the worst people that were available rather than using my bench spots.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I apologize, but we got to go back to illnesses here.
Yeah.
Because Demario.
Yeah, Pop Douglas.
I was like, I gotta get this name.
I'm glad you said it because I couldn't remember. I'm like, it wasn't Ramondre.
No, I had him. I started him in a league. He leaves to get a notification. He's out due to an illness. 15 minutes later, or maybe not even a full 15. I kid you not. Demario Douglas re-enters the game. He's in the lineup. He's back on the field. He left the game to take a shit.
I think so. Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Like,
Pulled a Lamar from a couple years ago. Yeah.
So he's not injured. He wasn't sick for 15 minutes. He went to the bathroom.
Yeah. The London food didn't agree with him. He had the Skitters. He shouldn't have had the bangers and mash for breakfast.
No.
Classic
but
mistake.
It just made me laugh. I just got the biggest kick out of it. But that 15 minutes where he was out did not help me. Like, he could have been catching stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Josiah saying Gardner sucks. 2 freaking points from Tyreek.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Fortune tuning in. The injury bug has officially hit the 49ers. And when you got to poop, you got to poop.
I guess when it hits. You don't think about that. Like, they're out there on the field. And I guess if you can't wait till halftime.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. So I have a little quarterback quiz for you in the chat. So I'm going to post this graphic up here. 2 quarterbacks. Quarterback 1, you can see 68.6% completion, 965 yards, 6 total touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and an 89.7 passer rating. Now, this was before this weekend because they had not played an equal amount of games. I wanted to get equal amount. Quarterback 2, 70.6% completion, 975 yards, same amount of touchdowns with 6. Interception 1, passer rating 98. You get a round of applause if you can get it right. So think about it in the chat. Put your comments in on who you think QB1 is, who you think QB2 is, and we'll reveal it right after Miranda lets everybody know a little bit about Underdog Fantasy.
All right. We are brought to you by Underdog. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. We're talking NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts, and you can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. We're going to be giving out some picks here in a little bit, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, head on over to underdogfantasy.com, sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, that's underdogfantasy.com, promo code OFFSGPN.
All right, we are back. Let's see. We got Mahomes is number 1. R Mark 57, Dad says. And Josiah agrees. Nick even said Mahomes. Number 2, Caleb Williams is the guest that is coming in. You guys are correct that number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Justin Fields. It was just benched
what
for
I was
Russ
gonna
Wilson.
say was I feel like one of these is Fields. I almost said, is this Wilson and Fields comparison? Because you're like played the same amount of game. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't think that Russell Wilson was that great. So
yeah. So Patrick Mahomes, Justin Fields, and now after the game against the Niners, Mahomes has more interceptions and touchdown passes, which is kind of crazy in my opinion. Not what we expect from Patrick Mahomes.
No.
So thanks for letting us down, Patrick Mahomes. All right. Real quick, our listener leagues. I just want to give a shout out to them because Keeper's Heart is nice enough to sponsor one of them. And we have no remaining undefeated teams. But the top 6 are Jamie, who checks into the chat, Rod Villa Gomez, our good buddy, our host over at NASCAR Gambling Podcast, myself, Nick Fortune, and then Pinky from Sports Nonsense Whiskey, and then Bryce Gaskin, and then our Savage and Cook, also nice enough to sponsor a league, our Pirate League. Congrats to Elway Lova, which I think is Caleb. I'm not positive. And Nick Fortune for being the 2 remaining undefeated teams.
Undefeated.
Yes. Crazy.
I am not in the top in any of those.
You are not.
It has been brutal. I'm still defeated in Scottfish.
Still undefeated in Scottfish. Nice.
So,
I like it. And it looks like I was going to tweet this out, but in that 101 of Dynasty Leagues, it looks like you and I will have the number 1 and number 2.
We keep going back and forth between us having our score.
This will be the 5th week in 7 weeks that we've been the high scorers. So congrats to us, I guess.
Congrats to us.
We're studs. And speaking of studs, let's go over studs and duds.
Let's do. I've got a quarterback for you, and this feels weird to say, especially when we're just comparing how they benched Fields. But Russell Wilson, he's projected 14.6. He finished with 20. He was projected, I should say. He finished with 24.86 in their 37-15 win over the Jets. He looked better than Rodgers.
Rodgers is cooked. I said it beginning of season. I'm sticking to it. Running back stud Jahmyr Gibbs projected 12.7, finished with 30. He had 116 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 4 receptions, 44 yards. It was a good day for him. Monty was injured part of that, so he probably got some more carries, but he's been solid all year.
To pair with Russell Wilson, his receiver George Pickens projected 11, finished with 19.6. It looks like Wilson is immediately going to elevate Pickens' fantasy value. Although, I mean, he had some good games before with Fields.
Yeah,
he did have some good ones there too. But I think we're going to see more consistency from him with Wilson.
Yeah, I agree with that. To Apple. With the Jahmyr Gibbs, you said to pair, so I'm saying to Apple.
To Apple.
Jonnu Smith was projected 4.1. He finished with 19.1 for the Dolphins. Shout out to Njoku too, who we were on the fence. Like, is he still going to suck? Is he going to be better with Amari Cooper gone? Well, no Amari Cooper, no Deshaun Watson. I think things are looking up because he doesn't do well with Deshaun Watson.
No,
but anyways, he was projected 8.2 and finished with 18.6. I think he's a starter from going forward because Watson won't be in there and because with Cooper gone, he got a lot of the targets. There's a fly bothering us. If you're watching on YouTube, Miranda's kind of swatting
and I
at
just
him.
like hit the glass. It's all good.
Let's go over these duds, which that fly is going to be a dud.
Okay, this is almost comical. Andy Dalton projected 14.7 against a Washington defense that has allowed yards through the air.
Yeah.
But not yesterday. And Dalton finished the day with 93 yards, 2 interceptions, and 0.02 fantasy points.
I almost had more fantasy points than Andy Dalton. That's crazy. Alvin Kamara projected 15.9 against Denver. He only finished the day with 5.4. Saints couldn't really get anything going, and it felt like the Broncos said to themselves before the game, if I could talk, hey, let's stop Kamara, and we don't really have to worry about anybody else. And that's kind of what happened.
Tank Dell was a bust as well.
Killed me.
I know. The Texans, like even Stroud, not looking.
Shout out. You won't hear me say this often, but shout out to the Packers defense. They smothered them.
I'm going to lose my shit over this fly. So anyway, Tank Dell was projected 12.1. He finished with 0. Like you said, Packers defense
they were all over him.
Mm-hmm.
And then tight end Travis Kelce projected 10.3, finished with 3.7.
Over this guy, I cannot rely on him.
And Sam Laporta,
so frustrating. He has 2 15-point games back to back, 15 and 16. I think he got in a league.
Yeah.
And now what is this? I can't have the inconsistency in this position is driving me crazy this season.
Well, and Laporta got 3 as well. So
I started both of them. I flexed Kelce in a league, started Laporta. I'm done. I'm done with it. I need to look elsewhere. I can't keep you start your studs and they're supposed to be studs. They are studs.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
Yeah. No, it's not. And it's frustrating, especially for somebody that thought he was so smart by getting both of them in a draft.
Well, me too.
Yeah. Nick Fortune saying, should I take a player from Justin's team in the Pirate League or should I show him mercy?
You don't show mercy. If he has
agree.
a good player, even if he's just going to sit on your bench, you take the good player. That is the whole point of the Pirate League. You show mercy to him, then you better show mercy to the rest of the league, and you're just done.
Now, I agree. The only problem is, do I have any player that's even better than anybody on his team? Because I've been stolen from 6 times.
There's got to be a player that's better than somebody on his team.
Yeah.
And what I would do,
or take a player
if you
and drop
really
him.
don't want and do that, but if you really don't, like, look at his team and look at it from Justin's point of view. Who is his strongest team member? Take him. Doesn't matter if you need him. Take him.
Yeah, that's accurate.
This is a Pirate League.
Wesley saying, go Josh Allen. Josiah saying the Jets suck. Wade checking in, rest of the season. I need to trade a wide receiver for running back. Do I get rid of Kupp, Cooper, or Harrison Jr. for Aaron Jones? Can you rate these wide receivers? Side note, I'm guaranteed playoffs week 15. I think I would take, let's see, Kupp, Amari Cooper, or Marvin Harrison. Rated, I would say Kupp, Harrison, Cooper. That's how I would do them in order. I would, if you can get Cooper for Jones, I would do it. Another running back I would target because he is running. I watch this game and I'm impressed every week I watch him. Brian Robinson of the Commanders. And not a lot of people talk about him because I think he's just not a flashy back. But, man, he lowers his shoulder and runs through people. I would suggest getting him, too, if you can, instead of Jones. But if you could get somebody, if you could trade Amari Cooper for Aaron Jones, I'd definitely be for that. You agree?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And Colby loves flies and pointing out that Tucker Kraft has been reliable. I agree with that.
He has.
It's
really weird giving fantasy advice and mentioning names like Tucker Kraft or we even brought up Hunter Henry. He just doesn't go away.
Plot twist. I'm going to be talking about Hunter Henry. He will not be going away. I'll be talking about him in a little bit. Josiah says he's hoping Otten gets as many points as Njoku or he made a bad mistake. We've all been there.
We never knew. Who would have known that Watson was going to be done, season ending? Because Njoku with Watson, it's not, they don't got the OChem.
Right.
Bad combination.
Yeah. Mr. Grapefruit, awesome name, saying trade Bijan for Justin Jefferson in a 12-team PPR. The guy with Jefferson has Ramondre, Eckler, Singletary, and Gibson at running back. That's it. So he definitely needs Bijan. I guess my question would be, how are your running backs? If you have the depth, then I'm okay with it. But if you don't have the depth, that kind of concerns me because Bijan is a solid running back.
Yeah, I need to know.
Who are your other running backs? And then we can.
Okay, yeah, because that's what the guy.
Yeah, that's the guy with Jefferson has them. So, yeah.
Let's see your depth.
Let's see your depth,
which is a
sir.
Weird question.
Show me your depth. Hey, you know what time it is. They know what time it is. But does Jim Miller know what time it is? I'm sure he does.
This is Jim Miller, former Chicago Bears quarterback, and now it's time for Sir Throws a Lot.
So we touch on this every week. Just who threw the ball the most last week? It was Gina with 52. Miranda, who's this week's Sir Throws a Lot?
This week, it must have just been a running weekend, apparently, because Sir Throws a Lot right now. And, of course, we have 4 quarterbacks remaining to play tonight. Are you ready for this name?
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph.
Excuse me?
With 40 passing attempts. He got the start for the Titans and looked better than Will Levis, even though they lost the Bills.
Yeah.
He had a 63% completion rate.
Yeah. So,
which I started wanting to bring that information in because we have some horrible quarterbacks,
right,
who are getting this or throws a lot because they're throwing a lot, but they're not getting
completing them.
Yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Run Rudolph. It'll be interesting to see if they keep him as the starter. Will Levis has been a little banged up, but I don't know if they plan on keeping him. Mr. Grapefruit has Kamara, Pollard, and Jonathan Brooks still. You lost Rashee Rice, then Nico, then Marvin having issues. I got DK, who's got the knee problems. So Nico should be back. I've heard he's ahead of schedule. So as soon as he's eligible to come back, which I think is in 2 weeks, he will be back. Marvin is back. He's playing tonight. And then DK, the good news is that MCL,
it's week to week.
Yeah, it's grade 1, which is best case scenario.
I don't think you're going to have him miss a lot. I do understand you might be in a bind for like a week with your wide receiver situation. I don't know. Would you give away Bourbon?
I think with that running back room, I would like to keep him. You said you're guaranteed playoffs, I believe. Is this the – oh, no, that was a different comment. Sorry. But I still think I would keep him. If you could move Pollard for like a wide receiver too. You won't get a Justin Jefferson, but if you could move Pollard, I'd be good with that. But I think I would keep Bourbon. Bourbon and Kamara should be your top two guys. Akiva, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, checking in. Kittle owner had Njoku. I traded the Texans kicker who's good for Njoku before this week, and I feel like the man. Nice. Moving Pollard might be better for sure. South C77, would you pick up Russell Wilson or Tua off of waivers?
Tua?
Yeah, I think
Tua.
I would absolutely pick up Tua.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Go.
I was just saying, I'm hoping that he is healthy, but I don't think they would risk putting him back out there if he's not.
No, I don't. And just if he's back and he is healthy and they protect it, like he's so much talent, and that's what that team needs right now. They need him back.
Russ is solid too.
We might talk a little bit more about him later. I might talk a little bit more about him later. Spoiler alert.
All right.
But he is the quarterback I would be looking to as well.
Yeah. Yep. Tua does lack upside with no rushing floor. I agree with that. But when he's healthy, he can really sling the ball to Tyreek, to Waddle. We saw him be a top 12 quarterback last year. He can get back to that for you, I think. So I still like Tua if he's available.
He's not going to finish as a top 12 because of the time he's missed, but he could be playing as a top 12 for the remainder of the season.
And Sports Nonsense Whiskey saying Russ is fool's gold. I'm curious to see if Russ can sustain this because we did not see him sustain it last year.
No. So. And this is, I did say, spoiler alert, it's kind of more desperation there. Of the two quarterbacks we were just talking about, I would take Tua before I'd take Russ.
Yeah.
But Russ could be an option for you. Let me just clarify.
Yeah. Let's go over our Underdog Fantasy lineup, shall we? I'll let you kick it off. Do you have your notes today?
I do.
Oh, excellent.
Excellent. I didn't let you down, and you didn't throw them in the garbage.
I did not throw yours in the garbage.
Okay. I've got Derrick Henry, higher than half a touchdown. He's scored at least one touchdown in every game, and he's scored 2 touchdowns in 3 of the last 4. So I feel good about this one. Mike Evans, higher than 57.5 receiving yards. This seems too low for Evans. And the Ravens are allowing the 3rd most receiving yards to wide receivers so far this year. And then I've got Mark Andrews, higher than 2.5 receptions. He's had 3 or more receptions in the last 2 games, finally looking more like himself. And the Bucs are 4th worst against tight ends. Then I've got James Conner, lower than 65.5 rushing yards. In the past 4 weeks, he's had matchups against 2 defenses that are top 15 versus the run. And in those, he had 17 yards and 24 yards. Chargers are 6th against the run. So this just doesn't look like a good matchup for him.
Yeah.
And then my last one, I've got J.K. Dobbins, higher than 81.5 rushing yards. In games versus bad rush defenses, Dobbins is averaging 120 rushing yards a game, and Cardinals are the 3rd worst versus the run. $10 pays you $161.70. If you do a flex entry, all 5 of these will pay you 80.08 cents. Got to get those 8 pennies. 4 will give you $26.60.
All right, I like it. For mine, I went some different directions here. Baker Mayfield, who we know has been a dog, higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think the Ravens aren't great. Not that I think they aren't great at defending the pass. So I think he's going to eat a little bit there. And I think they're going to have to play from behind a little bit in this game. Zay Flowers, higher than 63.5 receiving yards. He's coming off 132 and 111 in the last 2 games. So this is a guy that he's been a dog. He's been a top wide receiver. And the Bucs are 29th against the pass. Justin Tucker, 7.5 kicking points. He's gone over this 4 out of 6 games. I just realized that my notes are in a different order. I apologize for that. Kamani Vidal, higher than 16.5 rushing. Just what you said about J.K. Dobbins. I think Vidal's going to get in there and be able to rush some too. He is their RB2 now. And then Budda Baker got a little defensive prop. So I added the kicker prop. I got a defensive one too. Budda Baker, 5 tackles, higher than 5 tackles. Against run-heavy teams, he's averaging 5 a game. The Chargers are a run-heavy team, so I expect him to get over that. All righty. Before we get into our waivers, I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit about, if I could run my computer, a little bit about BetUS. We're brought to you by the best with BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS, they've been around for more than 40 years. Bet anywhere. BetUS is available in a ton of locations, including internationally. And BetUS just launched an all-new live betting experience. Easily deposit using cryptocurrency, get those Dogecoins ready, and get lightning-fast payouts. Miranda, let's just take the first game. First score, Ravens touchdown, Ravens field goal, Bucks touchdown, or Bucks field goal. Which of those do you like?
Bucks field goal.
Bucks field goal, that'll pay you plus 330. So a little over 3-1. Use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus. That's right, not 100% deposit bonus, 125% deposit bonus on your first deposit. No, your first 3 deposits. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so that they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or press Build a Model for Me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trends analysis to give you even more betting insights. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, we are back. I see you out of the corner of your eye mocking me.
My eye? The corner
yeah, I see out of the corner of your eye, of my eye, mocking me. And it's
I'm not mocking you.
A little distracting.
I'm adding some just intense hand gestures to your
Josiah saying that Russ Wilson can't keep it up. He's a D1 Russell hater. Agava saying I agree with and like the Zay Flowers line. Zay's going to eat on this defense, I feel like.
Nom nom.
Though Mathiasen is rooting for Flowers' downfall. And nom nom. What's wrong with you over there?
A lot.
A lot. Well, since there's a lot wrong with you, should we give out our waivers?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
I don't know that instills confidence before we go into waivers, but let's do it.
Fair enough.
I mentioned Russell Wilson earlier. He is the quarterback waiver wire pickup. Obviously, if you have somebody like Tua out there, grab him. Mm-hmm. We're bringing you waiver wire pickups that are rostered in less than 50% of leagues. That's what we're looking at. And I am bringing up Russell because he's rostered in only 5.2% of ESPN, 14% of sleeper leagues. He was named the starter now that he's healthy and had a really good game against a good Jets defense. He threw for 264 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. And that was, after shaking off some rust in the first quarter.
Rusty Williams, if you will.
Rusty Wilson.
Wilson.
What did you just say? Did you mean Rusty Wilson?
Yes, that's exactly what I meant.
Okay, whatever. He was Rusty Williams in the first quarter. I think he's going to continue to do well. You've got me. Off here.
We're out of control.
Maybe the Steelers finally have this thing rolling.
Yeah.
Even though, I kind of like Fields more, but anyway, we'll see how that progresses. But if you are desperate and you need a quarterback, I think he's worth picking up just to see if they can continue kind of what we saw this weekend.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd feel great with him as my starter, but if he's
deeper
there,
leagues or like I said, desperation, deeper leagues, super flex where you're hurting, throw him in. If you have to rely on him as your starter, I think you're in a seriously desperate situation.
Yeah, could be. And speaking of desperation, I got Jameis Winston. Rostered in less than 1% of ESPN, 3% of sleeper. I'm not sure why Dorian Thompson-Robinson was the first choice after Watson went down, but now he's injured as well. Winston comes in. I think he's going to get the start. He had 5 completions, 67 yards, and a touchdown towards the end of the game against Cincinnati. Got to remember, this is a guy, he's crazy. Don't get me wrong. He's insane, completely insane. But he did lead the league in passing touchdowns before. Now, this was at the same time he was leading in
interceptions.
Yeah, in interceptions. But he can sling the ball. He's a high character guy, and he's ready to get back in there.
On the first day of pheasant hunting season, he was pulling at the chain.
Yeah, he's pulling at the chain to get back in there. So, all right. Should we talk about some running backs here?
Yes. I don't like throwing this one out there, but I'm throwing it out there. Ray Davis.
Why don't you like it?
I don't know. We'll just continue. Let me continue, okay? ESPN rostered in 14.7% of leagues, 29% in sleeper. James Cook is back from injury, but Ray Davis still got involved and made some big plays, and that's kind of why I'm throwing him out there. Even though Cook is back, it looks like he has the ability to get some of those big plays.
Yeah.
He got 5 carries, but turned those into 41 yards and a touchdown, finishing as the RB17 from the weekend.
Yeah.
So this is the guy that's going to keep, we're seeing he's going to keep getting the ball. And I think if he can make those big plays, like we're going to see him involved even more in a game, obviously.
Yeah. I like it, especially if you have James Cook. Because if Cook gets hurt again, this is the guy that takes his spot. So yeah. We're really selling these waivers because I'm not crazy about my guy either here. But running back, the depth on the waivers is so thin.
It is
now.
so thin.
I'm going to go with J. McCall Hasty of the Patriots, formerly of the Niners. He's rostered in less than 1% of leagues, and this is a deeper stash, but Ramondre, he's been dealing with injuries on and off. I don't think Antonio Gibson's very reliable, not only with injuries, but fumbling as well. And J. McCall Hasty's been doing a little bit of damage here on passing downs as they're pass catching back. Sunday in London, he had 5 targets, cut off 5 for 49 yards and a touchdown. If you're desperate for a flex, he may be a good option in 12-team leagues. I just think he's really good. And Akiva saying Tyrone Tracy is the clear-cut number 1 pickup. Yeah, I agree with that. We gave him out last week, though, because we could see that kind of shift. I
think now he rostered in more than 50%.
He might be. Yeah, we try to stick to just 50% and under roster management, but we did give him out last week and try not to. Sometimes we do give out the same person more than once because it's like you people aren't getting
picked up.
Yeah, you people aren't getting it. He is good, but yeah. Now I see you're looking on Sleeper to double check. It depends what league you're on in Sleeper because if you're looking at a dynasty,
because we've got 67% rostered in.
Yeah, but what type of league is that?
This is the redraft. No, wait, this is the keeper league.
Okay, well, it doesn't recognize that as a keeper league. So you weren't looking at a dynasty, so that's good. Yeah, 67%. So he would be over our normal threshold.
All right. I've got wide receiver, Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah.
He is rostered in 25% of leagues in Sleeper, even lower in ESPN at 5.5%. Brandon Ayuk is potentially out for the season. Debo has an injury history. Ricky Pearsall, rookie out of Florida, is just coming back from injury. I think he's going to get more and more involved in a team that can move the ball. And he just had 16% of the target share.
Yeah.
With Ayuk out, that should free up another 19% of the target share that he was getting. So that's got to go somewhere. Some of that is going to go to Pearsall.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's nice to see him finally healthy, see what he can bring. I have Cedric Tillman for the Browns, rostered in 2% of sleeper, less than 1 in ESPN. He had a lot of hype last year after he was drafted by them and it just never really took off. Didn't get a lot of playing time. He's off to another slow start this year, and all of a sudden Amari Cooper's traded away. We think Jerry Jeudy's going to pick up that slack. It might actually be Cedric Tillman that picks that up. He led the team in yardage, and he was second to only Njoku in targets and receptions. He was targeted like 12 times, I believe it was. So this is a guy that if he can repeat that, he's going to be decent as a flex or a wide receiver 3. I'm starting to wonder if he's going to be the guy that takes over for Amari Cooper. And with Watson out, I think they're going to be better. I think this team is better without Watson. I said it last year on this show, on the NFL Gambling Podcast. Watson is bad. Watson sucks. This team is better without Watson.
Mm-hmm. All right, at tight end, I've got Jonnu Smith, rostered in 7% of leagues. This could change with Tua coming back, but it technically should make the offense better. Jonnu Smith is currently 14th ranked tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd like to see that increase, go up in rankings. He's had 3 games out of 6 with over 5 catches and 50 yards. And he's coming off of his best game with 7 catches for 96 yards. We say it every week. Tight end position is tough this year. It's so inconsistent. So I would keep an eye on Smith. He could help you out on bye weeks or if you have injuries.
Yeah.
Or if you have Sam Laporta and Travis Kelce who aren't performing. Right.
Matthias is saying if your league has IR spots, Pearsall shouldn't be available. I actually kind of disagree with this. In most leagues that I'm in, he's available and they have IR spots because just the amount of injured players this year has been high, and guys that are your starters that you don't want to get rid of, like Nico, CMC, and guys like that are coming back, Tua. So for tight end, Miranda.
Yep. And I was just going to say, and if you're playing on Sleeper, it shows that he is available in over 75% of leagues. So.
Yeah. Miranda, what if I told you that the 6th ranked tight end is available in over 70% of leagues? Would you believe me?
I know where you're going with this. So yes.
Because he is. Hunter Henry. I know it's not sexy. It's the Patriots.
It's not sexy.
But he's looking better with Drake May as the quarterback. He now has 2 games over 40 yards in a row with Drake May. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's him finishing as a top 7 tight end 2 weeks in a row. So as far as tight end goes, it's working. 2 weeks ago, he had 41 yards and the touchdown. No touchdown this week, but 8 catches, 92 yards. May is starting to trust him as like the dump off position. And I think you can trust Hunter Henry as a tight end now that Drake May's their starter.
Yeah. If you had him as a backup tight end, it's paying off as your starting tight end.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Let's talk a little best bets because the game's going to be starting here soon. There are 2 games. We kind of breezed over the fact that there are 2 games tonight.
There are.
You got the Ravens and the Bucks starting at 7:15 Central Time. I don't know what time zones you're in, but 7:15 for us, 8 o'clock for the Cardinals and the Chargers.
I'm fine
with the. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know why they do this.
No, I'm fine with the doubleheader, but why overlap?
But like you can't unless you got 2 TVs going or you have the is it the YouTube that we?
Well, they won't even be on the NFL ticket.
Oh no, they won't be on the NFL ticket.
They're cable games.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you have the ticket and you can do the split screen, but no, you can't. So you got to bring 2 TVs in. Like I would rather have like a Monday Night Football. So after work, you just it's Monday Night Football. You're gonna watch football tonight.
Yeah, do one early and then one later. Don't do them overlapping each other. I just don't. I don't like that.
I feel like they're losing viewers by doing that.
Yeah, well they should be
because people have to choose.
Right. All right. So best bets. We're gonna do one per person, not one per game. We will do a first touchdown per game. Do you want to give out your first bet?
Yes. It didn't work for me last time, but I'm going to do it again. Justice Hill over 11.5 rushing yards. I think he gets 5 or so carries and can get like 12 yards.
Yeah, I think so too.
I also, though, I like taking Justice Hill 11.5 rushing yards parlayed together with Derrick Henry 50 plus rushing yards. Yeah, plush rushing yards and Lamar Jackson over 50 rushing yards. That's 3-1.
Yeah, no, I like that. With the 2 games in the past, I had to do a touchdown parlay and it hit. I have to do it again. I don't know why. I just love my anytime touchdown parlays. So anytime touchdown, Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, J.K. Dobbins, and Marvin Harrison Jr. or Marvinson, as some would call him, 13-1 for those guys to get a touchdown. I think all 4 do. And yeah, 13-1. Speaking of touchdowns, let's do some first touchdowns.
Okay. We're going to get one of these.
Yeah.
We started out doing really strong on our touchdown game.
Yeah,
for
we
first
did.
touchdowns.
I've actually hit 2 Mondays in a row, but no big deal. It's fine.
Okay, fine. Just rub it in. In a row, like, so this will be your third consecutive?
This will be the third consecutive that I'm going to hit. Yeah.
You're going to hit?
Yes,
okay. We'll see. So for the Ravens Bucks game, Lamar Jackson is who I'm going with, and that's plus 900.
Yeah.
And then Cardinals Chargers, I'm just gonna go with James Conner at plus 600.
See, I thought you were going to do the double quarterback and go Kyler Murray or something. Going James Conner.
Nope, not going to be that ballsy, Justin.
Not that ballsy. I did see multiple books are like offering just a one-click parlay. The guy that I have for the Ravens, Bucks first touchdown with James Conner as the first touchdown. My guy, the odds are low. I get it, but I'm not going to overthink this. Derrick Henry.
Sometimes you can't, like, sometimes it's like, oh, it's so low, but like that's, I don't know. Anyway,
it's a favorite for a reason, right?
It is.
You talked about how many touchdowns he scored once a game, 2 out of in the 3 of the last 4. I almost wanted to go Mike Evans for the Bucks, but I'm sticking with Derrick Henry. I think King Henry gets the first touchdown. And then for the Cardinals Chargers, going to go wild on this one a little bit. So if it doesn't hit, sorry, if you're depending on it. But Kamani Vidal, 21-1. This is Dobbins' backfield, but Vidal is a bruiser, and Dobbins has a long runner catch, and maybe he goes out, and they bring Vidal in, who's that bruising guy, RB2. And now that Gus is on the IR, 21-1, hell yeah, absolutely. So, Matthiasen says 12-team league with 2 IR spots. Can't think of 24 players worth being on an IR, but I suppose if you only have 1 IR spot.
There's been so many injuries, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got obvious ones like Christian McCaffrey. If you're in a dynasty or a keeper, you can't. Well, dynasty leagues typically have more IR spots, but if you're in keeper leagues like we are in, you only get the 2. And I'm not letting CMC hit the waivers and let somebody else pick him up and get to keep him next year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So he automatically just took up one of my IR spots in one of my leagues. And then, I don't know, there's just been so many. If Tua might have been kept on an IR.
Right.
Cooper Kupp was on IR. So, like, we could go. There's actually been a ton of injuries. Big name players who have been on the IR.
Nico is on like all my IRs because I have him in pretty much every league. Maybe Cooper Kupp. Yeah. There's
Hollywood Brown.
Well, he's in a keeper. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, that's the football. And now for the fun. Right?
Yes.
All right. We're going to be, why don't you tell them again what we're going to be reviewing while I grab it?
Okay. We are going to be reviewing Baby Jane, and this is a Widow Jane product.
Yeah. And did you want to pour and taste or read?
I guess I'm going to do the pouring today, but I'm going to have to break the seal on this baby. And
yeah. Not even open. We're going to talk more about this specific one, but first I wanted to talk about the Widow Jane Distillery. By the way, if you were joining for fantasy football and you're dropping out now because you don't care about whiskey, that's okay. We appreciate you stopping by. If you could subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and then those 5-star reviews will get you entered into a contest. 5-star review on Apple, that is. Contest to win an old-fashioned football t-shirt. And we got a sweet logo that Jake Paquin designed for us, so check that out. But woo, nice.
That was a good one.
Cork pop there. So this Widow Jane Distillery is located in New York, and when they set out to produce their own whiskey, the plan was to create something bold and rich that had an intense taste of New York in each sip. Now, when I think of New York, I think of bums and pizza. So I'm hoping it doesn't taste like bums or pizza.
You just insulted
all the New Yorkers.
Oh my God.
I apologize, New Yorkers.
You do know that not everybody in New York lives in New York City.
Yeah.
This is where your impression. You went to New York City in high school.
Yes. And it was very smelly. Anyways.
You're killing me.
All Widow Jane whiskeys are proofed with pure limestone mineral water from the Rosendale Mines in New York, which is just 100 miles north of their home in Red Hook, Brooklyn. The limestone from those mines were used to build the foundation of some of New York's greatest structures, and they've been used to build like the Brooklyn Bridge, the Empire State Building, and the 27,000-ton pedestal that the Statue of Liberty stands on. The Rosendale cement was known around the world for its strength and toughness, and that's kind of what they want to be known for. Now, we know how important water is when it comes to the taste and the creation of whiskey.
Yes.
It makes it unique. I mean, that's why like a California whiskey might taste different, or the 10th Mountain and Breckenridge that we've had, they use that Colorado water that's different.
Things that seriously impact whiskey, like where the grains are grown, where the water's coming from, and like that mountain spring water in the Rocky Mountains definitely leaves like an imprint on the taste and the quality of the whiskey. And like Texas whiskeys have a distinct
and then the weather when they're aging is one of those other things.
That is a huge part of it too, is the climate. But the ingredients and the source of them really does make an impact.
And the source for this, the water. So these caverns that were mined for over a century, they've laid empty for a long time. The limestone is basically gone except for the outer layers. So over the years, rainfall has filtered down and filled these deep underground aquifers, filling the mines with pure fresh water that drew its own strength from the limestone. And this was one of the main reasons that they decided to use that water. It's unique and sweet and has a unusually high mineral content, which is perfect for making and proofing whiskey. Widow Jane considered the water their fingerprint and signature ingredient in all Widow Jane whiskeys. Now, they do some blending and some distilling. So for the blending, they look for the finest barrels of bourbon and rye, which they filter and proof with their own water. They also distill every week in Red Hook using all GMO ingredients, including corn varietals such as Baby Jane. And the first distiller who was a huge part of the start of their company was Lisa Wicker, a former winemaker who started distilling at Limestone Branch. She's also worked at Starlight Distillery, Preservation Distillery, George Washington Distillery, then Widow Jane. She has now moved on to a different distillery, and it's now ran by Director of Operations Michelle Clark and distiller Sienna Jevermov. So let's talk about their whiskeys, because they have some different offerings that I haven't seen. Now, they do have a 10-year bourbon. I have seen that.
We should have gotten that when we had an opportunity. At Costco.
We should have.
There was a really good deal at Costco on that one time.
Yes, we should have. They have Decadence, which is a blend of whiskey. So that's kind of the blend that we talked about, or I talked about, I guess, earlier. Finished in maple syrup barrels. So they do the proofing and then the finishing. Lucky 13, which is a 13-year age bourbon. They have a 15 and a 20-year bourbon. They have a rye, which is called Paradigm Rye. They have an Applewood rye, which is aged in applewood along with oak. They put actually applewood staves in the oak barrels, so that's interesting. And then they have a Bloody Butcher bourbon, which is made with Bloody Butcher corn, just like Savage and Cooks.
Yeah.
They also have a chocolate malt bourbon, which is made with chocolate malted barley, which sounds very interesting. And then they have Baby Jane. This is the one we're drinking. It's made from a new generation of heirloom corn. This corn is their own creation. Their scientists and distillers and everybody went into creating this corn, this varietal. So nobody else in the world has this Baby Jane corn. Only Widow Jane does. So the taste that you get from this corn varietal will only be in this Widow Jane. So would you like to? You smelled it already.
I smelled
Do you
it.
want to?
Well, not before you smell it, because then I'll convince you.
That's true.
So let me know when you get a sniff.
I got a sniff. What do you smell?
Caramel apple.
I get the caramel. I don't know if I get the apple.
I got caramel apple.
It smells very good.
Like, I don't like a green apple, caramel green apple.
Well, the more you say green apple, the more I'm going to smell it. But
green
I got
apple,
the,
green
I definitely
apple.
got the caramel to start. There's something else there too, but you'll think I'm crazy if I say what I'm smelling.
What do you? Probably a sign to know.
Hay.
Hay?
Yeah, like a sweet hay smell, not like a makes you allergy. Hay, but
I can't think of hay without like getting congested.
Smell it now.
No, I don't want to. I like my caramel apple.
Do a little drive-by. A drive-by sniff, if you will.
No, I think you're crazy. No. I don't get hay.
I might be, but I could be right.
Sorry, I must apologize to the makers of Baby Jane because I don't get hay off of your.
You don't get hay. That's
bourbon.
Fair. Did you try it yet?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Ooh.
I know.
What do you taste?
I'm still mulling that over.
Still mulling it. Do you get mulling spices? Is that why you said that?
No, I just thought I would. No, kind of. I feel I get a lot of oak like afterwards. There's like something there, and then oak hits me, and I'm trying to figure out what the something there is. Before.
I get a finish of I don't know if I sometimes get tobacco and leather mixed by taste.
No, there's not tobacco and leather.
That's what I'm getting. Maybe we just had different things before. You're gonna try it now, and you're
before
gonna get
what? Different things before
to eat today.
Hours and hours ago. My palate is clean.
Her palate has been cleansed. This is really good though.
No, it really is. There is I know what you're thinking.
You're getting that too.
But I don't think it's tobacco or leather. It's something with oak.
Something with oak.
Something woody.
We don't always do this, but now that we've tasted it, do you want to hear what they
Yeah, I would like to. This is very interesting, and I really like we've tried another heirloom corn
you're
bourbon.
Gonna laugh when you hear the finish.
Okay. Why?
Anyways, the aroma, now smell it again while I'm saying this. Salty air, green grape, honeycomb, and cream soda. I will be honest, I didn't get any of that, but
caramel apple.
Caramel apple.
I still smell like maybe the green grape with the honey that they say you get is giving me the caramel apple. I don't know.
Interesting. Matthias will answer your question just a second here. The taste, it says strawberries and cream taffy, salted caramel, fresh fig, allspice, and cafe au lait. I don't even know what cafe au lait is, but
what is it? Latte?
It's LAIT.
Oh.
So no, I do not believe that's latte.
I'm just trying to think
I could read latte. Thank you very much.
No, it's very good though. I really like it. I was just about to say we've tried an heirloom corn bourbon before, and I really when they start getting into the different variety of corns, like even the Bloody Butcher corn, it really adds. It's just something unique that you can pick apart from not so unique bourbons.
Yeah. And then the finish. You ready for this?
Okay.
Peach compote, star anise, cut hay.
Gosh dang it, Justin.
Horchata, soft pretzel, and milk chocolate. I don't know if I get that on the finish, but cafe au lait is coffee with
like
cream in French. Yeah.
Like a latte.
Like a latte what? So maybe our taste profile is off, but I will tell you it's very good.
People taste whiskeys differently.
Yeah.
And what you taste is what you taste.
Normally when those taste profiles, I don't get them, but sometimes like when we taste, we get the same thing, even though it's not what they say you should get, like completely separate. This is very good though. It's easy to drink. It's a 90 proof. Is it?
Yeah. 90.
And yeah, it's very good. I like it a lot. I want to explore more of these varietal corns in bourbons because so far we've had, this is our third, Savage and Cook's, Bloody Butcher, and Howling Mob. And now this, I really
Howling Mob. That was heirloom corn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, another heirloom corn. It was Howling Mob.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah, now you say it. You couldn't have told me earlier what I was thinking of.
Oh, I didn't. I guess
that's like one of my favorite from Savage and Cook of the two that between Bloody Butcher and the Howling Mob.
Yeah. So Matthias would want to know question: What's fantasy league are you two in? That is your main league, redraft, dynasty, keeper. This is a hard question to answer.
Well, if you go old school main league, that would have to be the one we started 14 years ago, which is a keeper league.
It's a keeper league, but with limitations. It's auction. And then the keepers go up $5 on a contract based on what they were drafted at, and you can only keep 5 up to 3 years. So there are some.
When I got into fantasy football, I was only in keeper leagues. Well, we had one redraft. I take that back. There was one redraft. But it's mostly auction keeper leagues. But now
the reason I say it's hard is because I'm in 21 leagues. I had to count. That's why I said you to answer while I counted. But
it's hard to say that the dynasties aren't your main leagues anymore because your dynasty,
They take a lot of work because you're
Mhm.
planning your dynasty, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Scott Fishbowl was a redraft one.
Mhm.
We have a lot of auction leagues because that's what we kind of
And
started as with auction.
when we started like getting more into the different types of not just auction keeper or your redraft, we started looking into like your guillotine leagues and your pirate leagues and your vampire leagues. And so now I'm in 2 pirate leagues. I'm
Mhm.
in a guillotine league. You're no longer in the guillotine.
My head was cut off quickly.
It was week 1.
I'm number 1.
Mhm.
I thought it was golf. I thought the point of that one was to get the
Oh
lowest
no,
score.
no, honey.
It was
you know better.
misexplained to me.
But there's a lot of different league types out there.
Yeah,
so.
and we've started exploring those. Our listener league, we have a keeper league that is, or a
Not a
auction
keeper.
league. Sorry,
It's an auction redraft, and
it's keeper's heart, so it threw
yes.
me. It's an auction league that's a redraft,
Mhm.
and then the other one is a pirate league.
Yes,
And that one's from Savage and Cook.
and it's been brutal for me.
Yeah, it has been brutal for you. Not me so much. Well, the Savage and Cook league has been brutal for me. The auction league has not. Caesar wanted to know, need some trade advice in a 14-man PPR league. I'm 6-0, should be 7-0 after tonight.
Nice.
I get Walker for Bowers and Najee. I have Hunter Henry as tight end, and my running backs are Connor, Najee, and Tracy. So you'd have Hunter Henry as your main tight end if you shipped Bowers away with Najee, and you get Kenneth Walker. On paper, I like the trade. Bowers has been a target machine, so he's been getting a lot of catches, but there has not been a lot of touchdowns to go along with it. And it's the Raiders who don't have a high potent offense, but neither necessarily do the Patriots. So you're replacing with Hunter Henry. I do think Kenneth Walker is a lot better than Najee Harris.
Yes,
and I think he's worth those two. My only problem with this question is I like the trade on paper.
Okay.
I would do this trade, except you're undefeated. When I'm undefeated, it's hard to mess with. It's hard for me to mess with it because it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of deal. But I do on paper like this trade. My only concern would be, why trade if your team has done so well? That would be my one concern. And in a 14 person, also you have less options on waiver. So you're moving 2 guys for 1. I still do like the trade on paper, though. It's just
on paper. Well, you're getting it.
It's holding me up the fact
he's
that you're
currently
undefeated.
like RB8, something like that. He's
that,
a top 10. He is much better than Najee. I don't know.
And I think Henry will serve fine in Bowers' place. Bowers is a better tight end. He is going to finish with a better finishing position as Hunter Henry. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I
got some feedback on that trade.
RD saying need another player back in addition to Walker, so maybe try to get a low end flex along with that
if you're going to move forward. But again, like, you're undefeated. That's hard to mess with that. And maybe you're undefeated though because you've played the weaker teams in the league and you need some running back depth to going forward. I don't know. I'm just thinking here.
Yeah. That's a tough one. I agree with RD. Try to add at least somebody. Low end flex. It's not going to be a premier player, but just somebody
because you're undefeated. So you don't have to do the trade.
Yeah, we do have a trade chart on trade value chart on Sports Gambling Podcast that you can check that out, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You can search my name on the search bar, Justin Mark, and you can find it. No quality running backs aside from Connor. Yeah, I understand that, though. I do think Tyrone Tracy, he's going to be getting more and more carries. He's taking that backfield, but I agree with that. I think I would just play around with it to see if they would give something for a low end flex. Tight end depth, RD saying maybe a tight end. It won't be as good, but you could word it as in like, hey, Brock Bowers is better than the tight end you're giving me. Kenneth Walker better than Najee Harris, so it's an even deal there. Josiah is on to his chemistry homework. It looks like describe the bonding and diamond.
We've reached that point in the show where we start getting chemistry questions. This is great.
Yeah. RD with the same idea. You get the better RB, they get the better tight end. And thank you for the like and subscribe. That helps a lot. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
And great minds think alike. The same got to be true for crazy ones, RD. So cheers to that. Do you have anything else you want to add before this game starts in 1 minute?
No, it's game time.
It's game time. My baby Jane is gone, and I'm gonna have another pour while I make some notes on this pod. And yeah, it is gone. Going once, going twice.
Sold.